What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on The Kevin Lee Show. And I am your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? That's easy. It's therapeutic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Hello, friends, and happy Monday. I hope I sound okay. I'm actually trying a new mic setup for tonight. Hopefully everything is good, and if not, well, then I won't do it again. But anyways, again, I hope everyone had a good day and had a wonderful weekend. That being said, it's already Monday, and that being said, you are now, there you go, see I tricked you. You are now watching the Daily Dirty 30 here on The Kevin Lee Show. This is a show that airs every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And of course, I am your loyal host, Kevin. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we're going to talk about headlines. But what headlines? Follow up on Sunday's NFL debut. Now, the other day we actually talked about a follow-up on Thursday night's, the reaction to Thursday night's debut. Now, we're going to talk about what happened over the weekend. Now, mostly what happened, I think, was good. Mostly. The reason why I say that is because, well, some NFL fans did express their anger at, politicizing of the league as teams kneel for the anthem or stay in the locker rooms to support BLM on the first Sunday, while Colin Kaepernick slams the NFL for propaganda. So that happened. And it happened quite often, actually. Not going to lie. It happened exclusively. We're gonna look a little bit more in detail about that right now. I'm going to blow this up bigger so even I can read it, right? It says, fans tweeted their frustration and anger about how political messages appear to have infiltrated the NFL. Some teams knelt for the national anthem while others locked arms and raised fists. Several stadiums have been adorned with Black Lives Matter and End Racism messaging. Colin Kaepernick spoke out against the NFL on Sunday as the opening games were getting underway. Kaepernick appeared to be angered by the NFL pushing its social justice initiatives, while his former teammate Eric Reid remained a free agent to start the season. Again, that's not really the NFL's fault necessarily. You could say that it is, maybe it isn't. I do not know. But what I'm going to show you here is an example. So this is actually the game that was in LA, and here on the sideline, you just have a bunch of guys locking arms, right? Nothing wrong with that necessarily. Another example here is at, what was this? Hold on. Oh, this was the Chargers. This is the Rams. I know I got ahead of myself there. So this is the Rams. The Rams, as you can see, it's kind of an eclectic group of people. You've got certain people standing, certain people holding their hand over their heart. Other people are kneeling. Some people are trying to support them. As you can see, it's not just one way or the other. And that's important. We're actually going to get to that in just a minute. But here are some of the angry tweets that we saw or heard about. It says NFL is a total S show with their crossing over into politics and social justice. Nobody wants to see that S. Roger Goodell, and your ratings will soon prove that exactly to be true. Dumbass. Okay, right? So I'm trying to clean up there a little bit. But basically, people are not happy, right? And for good reason. And I see both sides of this argument, to be honest with you. The reason I see it is this. I can look on one side and say, hey, I watch sports for the same reason I often watch entertainment. And that's because I want some type of getaway from my everyday life, right? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Oops, sorry. Should have muted this beforehand. My bad. So people are looking for a way to get away, to escape their everyday lives, right? You don't want to deal with the politics. You don't want to deal with the CNN and the president and everything else. You want to turn on football and watch football. You want to turn on TV show and just watch TV show. You want to be entertained. You want to laugh. You want a distraction, right? It's not that difficult. At least I don't think so. But apparently for some people it is. And I understand that they have a point that they want to make. And the thing, one reason why I feel like it's okay for them to make that point is because that last picture we saw. Here. So here is a picture of one team. As you can see, the single team is not even doing the same thing. It's not like if you're a part of a team, you're going to be forced to kneel, or you're going to be forced to stand, or you're going to be forced to do whatever. It was pretty much left up to the player what they wanted to do. And to me, that's important. Again, I don't really want to see it. I don't want to know about it. But if it's going to happen, at least as long as it's happening with people having options, that's important to me. Here's another tweet. Says, scumbags, NFL, kneel for the national anthem. F the Ravens, no more a fan. And again, I understand where people are coming from. People think it's disrespectful to the country. People think it's disrespectful to veterans. And I fully understand that. And if that's how you feel and you decide, hey, I'm no longer going to be part of watching the NFL, at least for now, until things calm down, or maybe even ever, then that's your choice. And you're totally, it's totally up to you to do that. But I think some people might have gotten angry where they didn't need to get angry. But again, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm just voicing it out there. Now, some people have actually gone as far as to make a Facebook page. This is called, well, the actual Facebook page itself is Americans Boycotting the NFL, but it's literally entitled 1 Million Americans Boycotting the NFL. So apparently people are looking to want to get more people involved in this. They want to get 1 million people. So it's kind of like having like a 1 million man march. So I guess the idea is if you put it out there, they'll follow and maybe they will. And again, if 1 million people decide they no longer want to support the NFL because of these actions, that's completely fine too. You just have to understand there's two sides to the conversation, right? People feel like they want to do certain things, and as long as they're doing them for the right reasons, so be it. As long as they're not feeling pressured or forced to have to participate in certain things. And if they are, then that's a problem as well. But again, I find it kind of interesting that they have like this big, movement, both publicly and privately, to try to indeed, boycott the NFL. But right now, that page, as of today, earlier today, had just over 110,000 people. So that's interesting, right? It's not a ton, but it's not nothing. Because 110,000 people on Facebook nowadays is kind of impressive if you think about it. Most people I know won't even go on Facebook, right? So to get 110,000 people to like something like that, it's interesting. Now here is actually my team. So here's the Bears. And again, it's a very different view of the NFL, right? It's not everybody kneeling. It's not everybody standing. You have certain people standing, certain people kneeling, certain people putting their hand over their chest, other people holding a fist up, which I thought was actually interesting. And again, I don't know exactly why they did that. I wish we had an answer. I wish they would have spoke publicly about it, and hopefully they will. Or if they did, I'll be able to find coverage of it. But it's interesting to see why they would do that. So, also something about the NFL, another reason why I find this interesting. If you look right here, there's a man on your screen, and again, if people are at home and you're listening on your podcast, you cannot see who I'm talking about, but I will tell you his name in just a second. So this is a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. His name is Tyler Eifert, and he honors Dan Dorn, who was a retired St. Louis cop shot dead during George Floyd protests, and is called the NFL's only true hero as other players pay tribute to black victims of police violence. Again, that's making reference not to Dan Dorn, but to Tyler Eifert. Now, what happened is, while much of the NFL honored the black victims of police violence on Sunday, Jacksonville Jaguars tight end Tyler Eifert paid tribute to retired St. Louis police officer David Dorn, a 77-year-old African-American man who was shot and killed by a suspected looter during a night of protests back in June. You might remember this story. This was actually someone's death that was not only captured on film of sort, on someone's iPhone, it was actually broadcast on Facebook, which was pretty disgusting. Apparently, I'm not saying that no one was there to help him, and maybe just one person out of the group was filming it. But that being said, would you really want to film it? The guy just got shot. He's on the ground. He's literally bleeding out and dying. I'm assuming someone called for help, but the fact that you actually streamed it on Facebook Live, I don't know. That's pretty disgusting. But he did lose his life, and he is being honored by this one football player. Because if you notice, a lot of the people on the back of their helmets, they get to pick names or pick, sayings that they wanted to promote. Like, we're all in this. It takes all of us. Breonna Taylor. Well, he put on the back of his helmet David Dorn, which I think is amazing. And here's a perfect example of how you can take something like the BLM movement in NFL and in sports, something you don't like, and turn it into a positive. You can shine light on areas where people are not familiar with, right? And I'm sure there's plenty other names you could pick to put on the back of your helmet, like David Dorn, that people might know of or might have heard of, but aren't fully aware of it because it was just a blurb on the 24-hour news cycle as we've been going through this whole movement of protests and riots. So I thought that was actually rather interesting. Eifert, again, is a 30-year-old in his first season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who played in Sunday's win over Indianapolis, with Dorn's name appearing on the back of his helmet. So now we're going to get to our next story. What is this? Protesting for all the wrong reasons. So, hospital protesters shout, "I hope they die," as deputies wounded in ambush attack recover. So what happened is, over the weekend, there was a small group, I guess, if you will, of protesters who approached the hospital, which was the same hospital that the two deputies who were ambushed and shot over the weekend were recovering after surgery. And we'll get to that in a second. There's actual audio I'm going to play for you. But, excuse me, I just want to kind of go over a brief description of what happened in the story, just in case you're one of the 10 people who haven't heard of what actually happened to these two LA County deputies. So 2 LA County deputies are fighting for their lives after ambush shooting, search for suspect underway. What happened is, and there's a video, I'm not going to play the video. You can find it anywhere. It's all over the internet. It's all over Twitter. It's all over YouTube and Facebook. You just have to put in LA County deputies get shot, and I'm sure it'll come right up in an instant. But there was a gentleman, a male, at least it appears to be a male, because the video itself is a bit grainy, so it's kind of hard to tell. But there was 2 police officers in a metro station who were parked there. I'm not sure if they were observing something, if they were why they were there. Maybe they were stationed for the day or for that part of the shift. And someone walked up to them, pulled out a gun, and started shooting into the vehicle. Shot both police officers who were in the vehicle, and they were both seriously injured. So Los Angeles authorities are continuing, and they still are continuing as far as I know, to search Monday for a gunman who walked up to a parked sheriff's squad car and opened fire, critically wounding 2 Los Angeles County deputies in an ambush recorded on surveillance video. Officials asked for the public's help in identifying the gunman in a weekend ambush after officials offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Now, sadly, it might take $100,000 to get someone to come forward, but hey, if it works, it works, because that person, what they did was absolutely heinous. I don't care what your feelings are about the police. I don't care what your feelings are against the government. I don't care what your feelings are against people right now in this society that you share a country with. It's never okay to shoot someone, especially when they're not causing you any harm, when they're not endangering you, when they're not endangering somebody else. If you just simply go up and try to execute 2 people for doing their job, that's ridiculous. So again, the 2 people that were shot one was a 31-year-old female deputy and a 24-year-old male deputy, and they both underwent surgery after shooting Saturday evening and were expected to recover. And I believe they're doing well. They're stable. They are resting. That being said, I believe, and I don't think I got a picture of it. No. So what happened is the woman actually got shot in the jaw, in the face. And I think the other gentleman got shot either in the arm or the chest. And they had gotten away from the vehicle after the guy ran away. They got out of the vehicle. They got to more of a safe place, if you will. And she actually started attending to him because she was fearful that he was seriously injured. She knew she was hurt, potentially. Maybe not even. Who knows? She might have even been in shock. I mean, we don't know. I don't know that she's been interviewed. And I know certainly she has not been interviewed by the general news media. So, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. There's footage, if you want to see it, on the same surveillance tape of them exiting the vehicle, getting over to a place of shelter, and having her start examining and trying to tend to his injuries, even though you can clearly tell she's got blood all over her shirt and her chest and her abdomen, and it's coming from her face after getting shot in the jaw, which I couldn't even imagine. That's absolutely terrifying. But she obviously seems like, she's the right person for this job. So now we're going to play the audio of the protesters, again, like I mentioned previously, that were standing and approaching outside of the hospital where 2 injured sheriff deputies are recovering. So what happened is they were trying apparently to get into the hospital. Now they had some type of security. I'm not sure if it was a hospital security force, if it was actually police that were there to stop people from coming in who don't belong in the hospital. But after being stopped, they had a confrontation with this security force / police officers. And it might have been security, because I think police were called very soon after. I don't know if anyone was ever arrested or if they were detained or removed. I was not able to find any of that information. But like I said, I will play the audio, and it's like a minute long, and then we will talk afterwards.
Hey! Yo! Fuck the police! I hope they die, motherfucker! Bijan Kinsey, motherfucker!
Bijan Kinsey!
Supposedly this shit's fucking private, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's in here fucking related to this church? I mean, to this hospital?
Come on down here.
How is it
do
private?
something, motherfucker! Fuck the police!
That's their
Dumb
excuse.
ass bitches, man.
You know how white supremacy is.
Yeah.
Fucking pig! Yeah.
Oh, here they come,
Alright.
here they come, here they come. Here they come.
Yeah. Come on down here.
Hey!
Next one.
Yeah, you goddamn right
You'll
with
be
me.
the next one.
Everybody motherfucking record.
Hey!
Everybody motherfucking record. Okay? Yeah, everybody motherfucking record. You motherfuckers murdered.
Should be recording too.
And goddamn it, you got 2 motherfuckers laid up right now.
Other protesters.
Hey!
How about that? What you want to do? You want to fire a shot? Is that what you want to do?
No.
Go ahead,
Oh,
motherfucker.
look, he's ready with his gun.
He's ready, look.
He's ready with his
He's
gun.
ready with his gun.
Ready with his gun.
Motherfucker.
He's
They
ready.
might die any motherfucking way. So you want to fire the shot? Fire the motherfucking shot.
He's ready, boy.
Come on, slow that shit down. That's why you're all fucking dying one by one.
Yeah,
That's why.
So there you go. As you can see, they were definitely a interesting group of protesters. So they were very angry, and again, it's okay to be angry. It wasn't like they were being violent. They weren't being destructive. They were just using their voice, but they were not using their voice in a way that I don't think was helpful to anybody. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're frustrated. I can understand that. That's why I'm not ready to absolutely throw the book at them for the way they behaved. But that being said, there's better ways to behave, right? We're all called to act in a certain manner if we want a certain reaction. So the way that they're reacting is only going to get one type of reaction, and it's not going to be a positive one, right? That's why, the security guards had been with them originally, then the police showed up to try to, remove them from the premises, to fuse the situation. And as you could tell, they were trying to instigate with the police. They were yelling at the police, telling them to shoot them. I mean, obviously they weren't, these protesters themselves were not trying to de-escalate the situation. And again, I understand it, I get it. But again, we're, at this point in 2020, we all have to do whatever little part we can to make this world a better place. Again, I know some people are like, well, you don't understand, and maybe I don't, right? But maybe I do. And maybe I understand that everyone's got crap to deal with, everyone's got issues, right? We all have to start dealing with our issues in a way that's going to have some type of outcome. It's actually going to solve something. Going around and poking the bear is not going to help anything but get you attacked by a bear, right? So if that's your goal, then great, so be it, get attacked by the bear. But that should not be the goal of anybody, especially not in September of 2020. All right, we actually have a couple more stories already to get to, so let's get to them. So, the more things change, the more they don't. I don't know if you heard this story or not. I thought it was kind of interesting, but apparently vinyl sales have surpassed CD sales for the first time in 34 years. That's right, actual vinyl, not like the fun stuff you buy at either at a thrift shop or resale shop. I'm talking brand new produced vinyl. It's so, well, it's not even that much, I guess, but it is outselling by far CD sales. Now again, you can imagine that because right now, if anyone wants music, they either go on YouTube or they download it directly, or they go on Spotify or they download it directly from whatever source when they purchase it, right? So most things are digital. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that, understanding that. But the fact that vinyl now is outpacing and outselling CDs for the first time in a long time. I mean, going back 34 years, that's a long time, even for me. So here it says, let me blow this up so everyone can see it. It's been a long time coming, but now it's official. Vinyl sales have surpassed CD sales in the U.S. According to a new report from the Recording Industry Association of America, vinyl records accounted for $232 million in music sales in the first 6 months of 2020, while CDs have only brought in $129 million. This is the first time since 1986, 34 years ago, that vinyl has outsold CDs. Physical sales overall dropped, of course, 23% in the first half of this year, likely because of the fewer people are leaving their homes, never mind to visit music stores. However, CD sales declined by 48%, whereas vinyl sales started to climb, particularly during the week of record sales store drops, when 802,000 records were sold. Unsurprisingly, digital sales continued to decrease by 22%, accounting for $351 million. Now we're going to get to some better news. Okay, if that news wasn't interesting and good enough, this one might be better. Oops, hope I'm not getting feedback. I apologize. It says Larry Ellison's Oracle wins bid to buy TikTok's U.S. operation after the Chinese app rejected Microsoft bid at 11th hour. So if you haven't heard, maybe you're not even familiar. TikTok is an app that a lot of people use, not just kids, but a lot of people in general will go on there and make silly videos, and it's kind of interesting stuff. A lot of creative things going on there. It's rather an interesting, an interesting app. You know, I think it's kind of actually interesting. It's good for a time killer, if nothing else. If you're waiting there getting your oil change or at the post office, pull out your phone, start going on TikTok, time will fly by. I guarantee it. So, anyways, Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle. If you don't know Oracle, it's a huge software company. They won the bid to buy TikTok's U.S. operation. So now what they're doing is they're not buying TikTok, and they're not even buying part of TikTok. They're basically buying the data operations in the U.S. to appease the U.S. government and Donald Trump. So this is Larry Ellison. He is the owner. He's actually like 73. I don't know if he's had plastic surgery done, but the man looks fantastic. Maybe it's the tan. Maybe it's the sweater. I do not know. All right, so it comes a week before President Donald Trump promises to follow through with a plan to ban the Chinese-owned app in the U.S. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was actually scheduled to go through, I think, on the 15th or 16th. So that would have been like tomorrow, maybe even or the day after. So literally right at the end, because this has been going on for months. I don't know if you've heard anything. I don't know if you've seen anything, but literally this controversy with TikTok has been going on for week after week, after month, and this is like the third time they've threatened on canceling the app and banning the app in the U.S. So fortunately, it looks like it's not going to happen for those of you who either make money on TikTok, just or enjoy going on TikTok, or even making TikToks. So that's good news for somebody, right? Can't complain about that. No, sorry, Bob. So a person familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal that Oracle will be announced TikTok's trusted tech partner. Like I said, they're not going to be owning TikTok. They're just going to be managing the data portion in the U.S. They added it is unlikely to be an outright sale because, again, TikTok doesn't want to give up ownership of their company, right? They don't want to lose all that money, but they're going to still give up some of the money, and they're going to give up certain operations so they can continue to allow U.S. citizens to be able to use TikTok. Again, should that even be an issue, though? I mean, we could have a whole conversation on should the U.S. government have the rights to ban TikTok in the U.S., right? What rights does a company or the U.S. government or a state government have on saying, you know what, we don't want this to be around anymore. We're not going to allow this to happen, right? Should that be allowed? I don't know. That's a good question to be asked. If you ask me, I would say no. Why should the government be allowed to tell you what app you can and can't use? But the fact is right now, the way things are with the law, you are allowed to ban an app. You are allowed to do these things. So as long as it is, hopefully it will be saved, and that is definitely a good thing. Continues on here. Inside Oracle co-founders close ties. So this is another issue. A lot of people are freaking out a little bit. I happen to read this elsewhere as well. that because Oracle's co-founder has close ties to Trump, Larry Ellison, who told the president about treating coronavirus with hydroxychloroquine and hosted a fundraiser for him before his firm won bid to take over TikTok as shares in his company surged by 10%. Again, I'm not saying this is anything tied to it. Not saying it's not. Apparently, Larry Ellison is either a friend and or fan of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has interacted with him, but now Larry Ellison will apparently be Oracle will be, in charge of this data stuff. So a lot of people say, well, Trump's the one who wants to ban TikTok, so it doesn't make sense. It's not right. It's not fair that if he's the one in control of this, he should not have the right to, his friend, quote unquote, shouldn't be in charge of it. And again, that conversation could be had. It could always be blocked. I don't know if the contracts have been signed. I don't know if, if there's any last minute thing that could stop it either on the Chinese side, because the Chinese government and the US government both need to approve this deal. That's the way it works, because, I can't remember the name of the company. Byte something is the name of the company. Byte Media or something is the Chinese company that owns and created TikTok. So because of that, the way China works, China has to approve the deal, as well as in America. Essentially the US government, but really it's just the Trump administration, has to basically say we don't have a problem with it. So hopefully things work out for everyone, just because, again, we need as many escapes as we can get, right? This is 2020. So many bad things have happened. And I saw some funny memes about this as well. And it's actually kind of true. I could actually imagine people in the near future, like in a year or 2 years, kind of making a pact saying, you know what, if we make out of 2020 and things start clearing up and coronavirus gets under control and we get our economy back and the election goes okay, a lot of people might be like, let's never talk about 2020 again. Like, it'll be in the history books. It'll be like 2019, 2021, and we won't talk about 2020. That being said, I think we're just about done. Oh, no, more. The purported deal came a week before President Donald Trump promised to follow through with his plan to ban the Chinese-owned app in the U.S. unless its parent company, ByteDance, that's what it's called, handed over operations to an American firm. So, have we reached the end of the program? Yes, we have. But as you may know, if you've watched even one episode in the last, 2 or 3 weeks, we've added a special thing that we do here on the Daily Dirty 30. We find a video to play. So we always try to find something either uplifting or just funny or cute to end the show with. And that's what we're going to do right about now. So let's get ready for it. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good night, and we will see you all tomorrow. Yep. See you all tomorrow. Bye.
How to get any girl's attention at a party. Quick glance, smile, look at a friend, take a drink, look away, and bring them back. Flare the nostrils, soften it, bite the lip, harder, puff the chest, mating call. Look away. Look at your watch. Is that a fly? And we're back. Smolder. Cross-eyed. Hard to get. Bite. Laugh. And gone. Add some mystery. Now baby face. Dance. Slow it down. And peacock. Bigger. Bigger. She's all yours.